Nothing looks wrong at first, and that is why most people miss the moment everything starts slipping. There is no warning sound, no clear sign, no dramatic shift, just a quiet feeling that something feels off. People are still polite, conversations still happen, life still moves forward, but the way others respond to you is slightly different. They listen less closely, they interrupt a little more, they assume instead of asking. These are small things, easy to ignore, easy to explain away, and that is exactly why they work. You tell yourself you are imagining it, that you are tired, that you are overthinking, because accepting the truth would force you to change. Most people would rather stay comfortable than stay aware. The danger is not someone attacking you. The danger is people slowly deciding how much you matter without telling you. When you feel the urge to explain yourself more than usual, to clarify your intentions, to make sure everyone understands you mean well, that is not confidence, that is exposure. Explanations do not make people respect you, they teach people how to test you. Every time you react emotionally, every time you rush to defend yourself, you show exactly where pressure works. This is not about intelligence or strength, it is about patterns. Humans notice patterns even when they pretend not to. They notice who stays calm and who needs reassurance. They notice who holds their ground and who shifts to keep peace. Over time, these observations turn into behavior toward you. This is how position is lost without a single argument. Respect does not disappear in one moment. It erodes quietly while you are focused on being liked. Long before modern life complicated everything, this truth was already understood. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Fear here does not mean violence or cruelty. It means predictability, restraint, and the sense that you cannot be pushed easily. People feel safe around those they can read, but they submit to those they cannot. Right now, the tension you feel is not coming from outside. It is coming from the part of you that realizes something is changing and knows that doing nothing is also a choice, one that slowly hands control away while you stand there, pretending nothing is happening. Once that shift begins, it keeps moving whether you pay attention or not. People don't wake up one day and decide to treat you differently. They adjust in small ways that feel reasonable to them. They speak over you because they expect no resistance. They joke at your expense because they sense you will smile instead of stop it. They delay responding to you because they assume you will wait. None of this feels like an attack, and that is why it works so well. It feels ordinary, even harmless, until you realize how much ground has already been lost. The problem is not that others are doing this. The problem is that you are still trying to earn back something that was never taken loudly. When you care too much about how you are perceived, you start shaping yourself to fit other people's comfort. You soften your words, you lower your expectations, you let things slide because confronting them feels exhausting. This is not kindness, it is avoidance, and avoidance has a cost. People rarely respect what they can influence easily. They may appreciate it, they may take advantage of it, but they do not protect it. Over time, you become predictable, and predictability invites pressure. You start noticing that decisions happen without you. Plans change, and you hear about them later. Your presence matters less than it used to, not because you became weaker, but because you became easier to move around. Humans respond to what feels solid. They test what feels flexible. The more you try to show that you are reasonable, understanding, easy to work with, the more you signal that you will absorb discomfort, so others do not have to. This creates an imbalance that grows quietly. You feel it when you leave conversations slightly drained, replaying what you should have said. You feel it when silence feels heavier around you than it does around others. This is not bad luck, and it is not random. It is the result of small moments where you chose peace over position without realizing you were making a trade. The unsettling part is that no one will warn you when they stop taking you seriously. They will still smile. They will still talk. They will just act as if your limits are suggestions instead of boundaries. And the longer this continues, the harder it becomes to reverse, because people adjust quickly to the roles they assign you. And once they do, they expect you to stay there. You can sense that expectation forming now, pressing in quietly, waiting to see if you will keep playing along or finally recognize how close you are to becoming invisible in your own space. At some point, you start noticing that people do not react to what you say as much as to how you show up. The words matter less than the tone, the timing, the way you hold yourself when nothing is happening. Most people miss this because they are busy trying to say the right thing. They believe effort will be recognized, that being fair will be remembered, that intentions will count. But humans are not built that way. They respond to what they can see and feel in the moment, not to what you meant or hoped. When you hesitate before speaking, when you adjust your stance to avoid tension, when you look for approval instead of assuming it, that information lands instantly. You may think you are being careful, but others read it as uncertainty. Over time, this shapes how much weight your presence carries. You notice it when your opinions are acknowledged but not followed, when people nod and then do something else, when agreement sounds polite but empty. This is not disrespect in the obvious sense, it is something quieter. It is the sense that you are safe to overlook. The mistake is believing this happens because you lack something. It happens because you reveal too much. Consistency builds authority, but visible effort invites evaluation. The more you try to prove yourself, the more you place yourself on display. Long ago, someone described this uncomfortable truth in a way that still makes people uneasy. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand. What they see shapes what they believe, and what they believe shapes how they treat you. They are not studying your work, they are studying your reactions. They are not listening for depth, they are watching for weakness. You feel this when your presence alone no longer shifts the room, when you have to speak more to get the same result, when silence stops working in your favor. Most people respond by trying harder, explaining more, giving more, hoping that visibility will restore balance. It does the opposite. It teaches others that pressure works on you, that persistence will move you, that time is on their side. Slowly, without a single confrontation, you begin to occupy less space, not physically, but socially. Decisions slide past you. Expectations lower without discussion. You sense it, but you stay quiet because speaking up now would reveal how much you care. And caring openly at this stage feels dangerous. The unsettling part is realizing that nothing external needs to change for this to continue. As long as you keep showing up the same way, the direction is already set, and every day you delay acknowledging it, the gap between how you see yourself and how others treat you grows wider, heavier, and harder to close. By the time you fully notice what is happening, it already feels normal to everyone else. That is the most dangerous part. When a pattern settles in, people stop questioning it. They stop wondering if it is fair or accurate. They just act according to it. You are treated a certain way because that is how you have been treated for a while. No meeting is held, no decision is announced. It simply becomes the default. You are expected to adapt, to understand, to not make things uncomfortable. The environment rewards those who fit smoothly into the shape it assigns them. Resistance feels awkward now, almost inappropriate, like you missed the right moment to speak. This is how isolation forms quietly, not by being pushed out, but by being placed slightly to the side. You are still included, but not essential. Still present, but no longer central. People check in with you less. They stop waiting for your response. They move ahead and assume you will adjust. At first, you tell yourself it does not matter, that you do not need control, that letting go is maturity. But there is a difference between letting go and being left behind. One is chosen, the other is decided for you. The more detached you appear from your own position, the more comfortable others become making choices around you. They do not feel they are taking anything from you because you do not seem to claim it anymore. You start noticing that speaking up now carries a different weight. It sounds defensive even when it is calm. It sounds late even when it is valid. The timing feels off because the story about you has already been written without your input. People trust what feels consistent, and they resist anything that disrupts the version of reality they have settled into. This is where many people freeze. They sense the loss, but they also sense the risk of changing course. Acting differently now would draw attention. Staying the same feels safer, even if it costs more over time. So they stay quiet. They wait. They hope the situation corrects itself. It rarely does. What usually happens instead is that the distance grows. Others rely on you less. Your influence shrinks without drama. You begin to feel like an observer in spaces where you once mattered. Not because you were rejected, but because you allowed yourself to fade in small, reasonable ways that added up. The uncomfortable realization is that no one is planning to stop this process for you. And the longer you accept the role you are being given, the more natural it feels for everyone else to keep you exactly where you are. At this stage, the pressure feels constant, not sharp enough to name, but heavy enough to change how you move. You start thinking twice before speaking, not because you have nothing to say, but because you are measuring the cost. You notice how easily others dismiss things that once carried weight when you said them. You feel it when your absence no longer changes the flow of a situation. This is when most people finally understand something important, but they understand it too late. Control is not lost in one decision. It is lost in a series of small moments where you choose comfort over clarity. Each time you stay quiet to avoid friction, the space around you adjusts. Each time you let something slide because it seems minor, that minor thing becomes part of the expectation. Over time, you are no longer choosing silence. Silence is being chosen for you. People begin to treat your boundaries as flexible, not because they dislike you, but because you taught them they could. The unsettling part is that nothing about this feels aggressive. It feels reasonable. It feels polite. It feels like everyone is simply doing what makes things easier. And ease has a way of erasing respect when it is not balanced by resistance. You notice the shift inside yourself too. You feel more cautious, more aware, less willing to take up space. Not because you are weaker, but because you have learned that visibility now comes with a price. This is how people become careful instead of powerful. They learn to manage reactions instead of shaping outcomes. The room does not turn against you, it simply stops responding to you. And that silence carries more meaning than open conflict ever could. You start to sense that even if you spoke up now, the response would be delayed, softened, negotiated, not taken seriously. That realization sits quietly in your chest, heavy and unresolved. It tells you that something fundamental has shifted in how you are seen, not temporarily, structurally. And the most uncomfortable truth is that no one around you feels responsible for fixing this, because from their perspective, nothing is broken. The system is working exactly as it has been taught to work. It moves around you with ease. It expects you to adapt. And the longer you remain in this position, the more effort it would take to change it, until one day, the idea of pushing back feels more threatening than the loss itself, leaving you trapped between staying silent and finally doing something that might expose how much you have already given up. By now, the pattern should feel familiar, not because it is dramatic, but because it is ordinary. This is how most people lose leverage in their own lives, not through failure, but through accommodation. They adjust, they smooth edges, they stay agreeable, and they slowly disappear from the center of things while believing they are being reasonable. The danger is not that others are powerful, it is that they stop needing to check with you. When your presence no longer changes outcomes, when your silence blends easily into the background, you are no longer part of the equation. You are a variable that has already been accounted for. People respond to what stands firm, not to what explains itself. They trust what looks settled, not what looks flexible. Long ago, this was stated plainly, without drama or comfort. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand. What they see in you decides how they treat you, long before your words arrive. If you look hesitant, you will be managed. If you look detached, you will be bypassed. If you look unbothered, you become harder to move. This is not about becoming cold or aggressive. It is about removing the signals that invite pressure. Most people never do this because it feels risky. They are afraid that caring less will cost them connection. What they do not see is that caring too much has already cost them position. Detachment is not emptiness, it is insulation. It stops every small reaction from becoming a handle. It keeps your center from being pulled apart by expectations you never agreed to. This is where the idea you have been circling finally becomes unavoidable. The less you need approval, the less control others have over you. The less you explain yourself, the less material you give away. The less you react, the more weight your presence carries without effort. Nothing about this requires an announcement. It happens quietly, the same way the loss happened. A shift in what you tolerate. A change in how quickly you respond. A calm refusal to fill silence just to be comfortable. If this feels unsettling, that is the point. It means you are seeing the trade you have been making clearly for the first time. Most people will never notice it. They will stay busy, stay agreeable, stay confused about why they feel invisible. You do not need to tell anyone what you are changing. You do not need to justify it. You only need to recognize that every moment from here on will test whether you return to what feels familiar or step into what feels controlled. And once you see that choice for what it is, you cannot unsee it. Because continuing the same way would no longer be ignorance, it would be a decision.